I'm just getting my t-shirt in shot because it's the favourite thing I bought this week because I am straight out of colon. So there'll be a lot of puns in the next 45 minutes. Good luck. Are we ready, Tim Cleasby? Right. I feel like I've made a false start there, sorry. Okay, my name's Sam Cleasby and I run the website sobadass.me. It is called that because I have a disease called ulcerative colitis, which is a bit like Crohn's disease, and so it's like that IBD, bowel, colon, and I just love a pun. I'm going to press, there we go. So yeah, I have ulcerative colitis, and they call me the poo lady. Not like like strangers in the street or bullies or anything. It's not like group therapy or anything. But yeah, because I do talk an awful lot about shit, I've managed to get this name. So I've got a few terms here, and it's not going to be all technical, but I know that I use these terms throughout when I'm talking a lot, and I just want you to all know what they are. So what I have is an ileostomy. So an ostomy is a man-made opening to the body. A colostomy, more people have heard of, and that just means that the opening comes from the colon. Ileostomy is what I have because it comes from the end of the small intestine, and the stoma is the actual little nubbin that comes out of your body. So I've had ulcerative colitis for about 15 years, and about 3 years ago I got really, really sick and I ended up having surgery. So during the surgery they removed the whole of my colon, which is why I'm straight out of colon. I got told off for doing that by my daughter this week. She said I should never do that again, and I've done it in front of a room full of people. And I said, yeah, boy, and she went, no, don't do that. So the website started as a way for me to just talk about all the things that was going on with my health. And very quickly, I got quite a big audience, and I realised that it wasn't just people who had IBD or people who had a stoma. It was lots of women who like talking about body confidence, either because they've got it or they haven't. When I got my stoma, it was a massive shock to the system. So I'll go back to my picture. So that's my stoma. Quite a few years ago, there's a lot more scars on there now. And it felt like such a massive thing. I felt like I'd lost my femininity. I felt like I'd lost myself. Just my whole character seemed to disappear behind this bag. I felt like it was like a massive, massive ostomy bag walking about with a tiny little me behind. But very quickly I realised that, I thought I'd hate it. I thought I should hate myself now because I'm scarred and I'm different and I've got all these massive changes. But what actually happened was I felt really proud of myself. I felt strong for the first time in ages. I felt like my body had been through so much, yet I was still standing. And so I started talking about that, and people were surprised. People thought that I should be hiding it away because it's an embarrassing illness. It's not something that we like to talk about, but that's not me. So I didn't do that. I talked a lot about how good I felt about my body now. I thought that all my hate would be on this bag, but then I just realised that I'm a woman. I've been taught to hate myself since I was born. So it wasn't that. And so I learnt to get over that, and it also made me feel a lot better about myself. The other reason I talk about body confidence and body positivity is I've got a daughter. And this is my daughter, Ellie, and she's literally, sorry Tim, but she's my favourite person in the world. Sorry, other kids as well. She's not the favourite, really. And she was becoming a teenager while I was going through all these changes. So we were going through massive changes in our lives at the same time. And what I didn't want for her was to have another person, another role model in her life who were telling her that women should feel shit about themselves. And so it really made me start thinking about the messages that I was giving her. A about the same time, so a couple of years ago, she was sort of 12, she'd just started high school, and she came home from school and she said, I really want some razors. I want to shave my legs. And I said, oh, okay, why? And she said, because the girls in PE told me that I'm a baby, and women shave their legs and they shave their armpits. And she said, I was so embarrassed, and so I want to shave everything off. So I said, well, okay, well, let's think about it. And then I realised that I was a big hypocrite, because I shaved my legs and I shaved my armpits, and it made me realise that I shaved my legs and armpits for 20 years because some bitch when I was 12 told me that women were meant to take all the hair off the body. And so I started looking about all the messages that we get about body hair. And I've got a couple of my favourite adverts that I love to hate, and they're quite quiet, so I'm sorry if you'll have to lean in and listen. This is one that I hate a lot.
We could all benefit from a bit of spontaneity. I went to a barbecue and everyone stripped off and jumped in the pool, and I was about to, and I thought, oh, are you beach ready? Of course I was beach ready.
Wilkinson Sword Quattro for Women Bikini, a razor and trim. A little thing for those spontaneous moments.
You've always got to be ready down there. You want to jump in that pool? Do it!
Wilkinson Sword, free of sin.
I mean, they're subtle, aren't they? You're ready down there. Because there's no way that you could ever jump in a pool of water if you had hair on your body. I mean, what would people think, that you were human or something? There's another one that is equally as subtle and makes me equally as angry. You can see I filmed these off my laptop today, so...
Yeah, I know. I'm a little prickly. I shaved yesterday. Don't risk, do this.
Do this!
Feel womanly around the clock.
Feel womanly around the clock, because this is what... I mean, this is my general response to these things. But this is the sort of messages that we as women, but especially young women, young teenage girls, are shown all the time. That if you're hairy, it means you're manly, you're a dude. I don't even know what dudeness means. It's not a real word. But also just that it's all about shame, it's all about hiding, it's all about what a real woman looks like. And that really upset me, and so I stopped shaving. I stopped shaving everything. No, I didn't want, there was no big political agenda. I just suddenly realised I only did it because, I nearly said the girl's name then, because the horrible girls in PE when I was 12 told me that I should. And I'd done that for 20 odd years because some girl told me that I should, and because I'd spent the rest of my life watching videos like that told me that it was gross. So I stopped shaving everything. Nothing happened. No. My husband never mistook me for a hairy man in bed, I don't think. I realised that I really like my armpit hair. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I properly love my armpit hair now. And what the message I wanted to give to Ellie, it wasn't to tell her not to do it. It was a message about consent. And so I wanted to teach her that it's her body. And from this point onwards, everything she does with her body should only be her choice. So it wasn't my choice. I couldn't say, no, don't shave. She chose to shave her legs and armpits. She did it for a couple of months and then realised she can't be bothered because she's definitely my daughter and anything for an easy life. But it took us on to conversations about marketing. And marketing and advertising, its only sole purpose is to make you feel shit about yourself. Because if you felt wonderful, how would they sell you all that crap? They have to knock you down. They have to tell you that you're not good enough so that you can buy all these ridiculous products. The next slide is just because I like it, to be honest. All of these messages really influenced what I started to write about on the website, and so I started to talk a lot more about the choices that we make and how those messages make us feel. And I started sharing quite a few images of me with my ostomy bag. Turns out I was beach ready there, had hairy armpits and a full 70s muff. No one cared. It was absolutely fine.
And your bikini doesn't match, if I might say.
Who cares? I was in Australia. I didn't care. I also, like I say, I live with a photographer, so he takes lovely images all the time. So got him to do some of me, and they went a bit viral. They went in all the newspapers, and it was fantastic. I've chosen that one. I've not chosen the one where I was in the Mail. Sorry. But it needs must, and I wanted to get the message out there that if I could learn how to love myself with these massive changes, then it's something that anyone could do. And I got some great messages back, and there's one in particular that I really wanted to share because it really stuck with me. And it was a lady who'd had the same surgery as me, and since she'd had surgery, she hadn't left the house. She'd gone home from hospital and she hadn't left the house again. And she said, since I had my ileostomy, my world has shrunk to 4 walls. I'm so ashamed of my body. I fear contact with others in case I have a leak and they think I'm dirty. I hated my body and I hated my life. I saw your images and you are sexy, you are feminine, you are still a woman, and I can be that too. Now, I don't share that just because I like people telling me I'm sexy. It just made me realise the power that one person can have. I never set out to stand in front of roomfuls of women and talk about my body, but I realised that I can be like a little voice chipping away against this massive thing over here that wants to tell you your shit. And so it just made me realise that I can do it. I can keep sharing these images and they can make a difference. And it can make a difference against the kind of things that we see all the time. Magazines that tell us 21 shocking bodies. And I don't know whether you can see this one. Apparently she's too flabby. But this one's too veiny. Sorry, I don't know who any of these women are, by the way. And you'll notice that they are all women. There's no shocking bodies of men on here. This one's piled on 8 stone. Look at how embarrassed she should be. But this one's too thin. So you can't ever win. You can never win in these situations because all of these things just make you want to feel like crap. If I could wave a magic wand and make all women love their bodies, how many businesses would go bankrupt? And it was thoughts like this that really made me stop and think that all the things that I just thought were normal. I thought it was normal to hate yourself. I thought it was normal to use really negative language about your body. I thought it was normal to say, oh, look how flabby my belly is. Oh, I've piled on the pounds. I thought it was normal for my thin friends to hate themselves too because they were too veiny or they were their ribs were showing. I thought all these things were just how it was. And it was the idea, it was this one thing of thinking, actually, all this marketing, they want me to feel crap about myself. They really do. Negative body image, it's also passed through generations. So not only have you got just such a massive amount of pressure from the media, you get it through your family and through your peers because we've all grown up in the same generation, so we've all had these messages given to us. I remember being a child and watching my mum get ready to go out on a night out, and I remember her looking in the mirror with disgust, utter disgust. I remember her looking at herself and saying that her bum was too big and her arms were too big. She could never wear a sleeveless dress because her bingo wings would knock somebody out. And it was all said in, a slightly joking way. I had a very loving mum, and it wasn't an abusive situation. When I speak to my friends, they all tell me the same thing. They remember these things. You remember your mum and your aunties and your sisters. My sisters were always on a diet. I went on a diet when I was 18 because I just thought that's what you did. I didn't actually need to lose any weight at that point, but I thought being a woman was being on a diet. And I was on a diet for 10 years. And I don't know how bad the diet was, but I was fatter at the end than when I started, like loads fatter. And we don't like using the word fat. I talk about fat quite a lot, and it embarrasses people if you say, I'm a fat woman. They go, no, you're not. And I'll go, no, it's all right. I'm not saying it for you to say, no, you're not. I'm a size 18. What I've learned over the past 4 years is that none of that matters. I'm much happier now at a size 18 than I was at a size 6 at 18 years old when I thought I needed to be on a diet. And that's the message that I wanted to pass on to my daughter, that none of this matters. The number in the back of your dress makes no difference to your character. And we know this because none of us judge our friends based on what their dress size is, or how big their arms are, or how big their arse is. None of us do that, but we do it about ourselves. This is my daughter now. How different is she now? This is 2 years later. She's going to kill me. I nicked this off her Instagram. I'm not allowed pictures of her. The thought of her standing in front of a room full of women in 20 years' time saying, I remember my mum getting dressed to go out on a night out and saying that she was fat and disgusting. It breaks my heart, so I can't do it. So even when I feel like I want to, because you get that little nasty voice in your ear that's telling you all these horrible things about yourself, I think about her and I think that I don't want to pass that on again. I want it to stop with my generation. I don't want our children to be growing up. Our children are growing up the unhappiest generation, and it's girls, it's young girls. Because when I was younger, it was in a magazine, it was in a film, it was on TV. We only had 4 channels, so, there weren't that much to it. Now, she is bombarded from the second she wakes up till the second she goes to bed by images. And it's not just photoshopped images of celebrities, it's images of her friends with so many filters that you can't recognise them. They look like they're from Cocoon, and they've got no features left. Nothing's just real, nothing's out there, so they're sharing images constantly. They've got so much pressure on them, and all I wanted to do was have, even if it was just one little voice. She's 14 now, so very little of what I say actually means anything. She just tells me off for that. I don't know anything. What made a massive difference to our relationship was that honestness, that we could be open, that I didn't treat her like a baby, that I didn't tell her what to do because she's told what to do by everyone else in society. And it was about allowing her the freedom to be who she is. She has me as a mother, so we talk about a lot of this stuff all the time. I bet I'm a nightmare. I bet she goes home just like, I just wish we could watch Neighbours like everyone else's family. I just showed my age, didn't I? No one watches Neighbours anymore. I'm sorry. I was thinking we're in the 90s then. No one's watching that. But even she's so susceptible to it. We went shopping last week and she brought over 2 pairs of jeans and they didn't have her size, which was in the middle. And she said, which one should I get? And I said, get the bigger ones. Because as women, we all know you get the bigger size because otherwise you get the roll over the top. And she said, without thinking, you think I'm a size 10? You think I'm fat? That was my face too. What? It was back to that Jackie Chan, what? And I said, really? That's what you think? You think a size 10's fat? And she went, no, it's not that. It's just everyone at school wants to be a size 6. And I'm already one size bigger than that. Like, yeah, because you've got to, fit your organs in your body. And, you're natural. She's a healthy woman. And I'm not against slim women at all. I'm not against big women. I just hate that we all have to fit into this such a narrow Western ideal of what beauty is. And it's crap. It's really, really crap. We have 2 rules in our house. One is try your hardest, and the second is just be nice. Those are the only 2 rules in the whole house. because we believe that with those 2 rules, if you do that in life, you're going to do all right. And I think often kindness is seen as quite a weak characteristic, because you don't ever see people on The Apprentice saying, oh yeah, I'm the kindest one in my office, I get all the deals done. We're taught that kindness is weakness, that it's soft, and I don't think that's true. I think that kindness is totally underrated, and I think we're quite good at being kind to others within our social circle. We're not very good at being kind to ourselves. And I come back to this thought that the words we say to ourselves in the mirror, or ourselves when we're doing things, with that nasty, horrible little voice in your head telling you that you're not enough, that you don't look right, that you don't fit in, that you're not clever enough, you're not thin enough, your boobs aren't big enough, all of these things, if you heard somebody saying that to your best friend, I mean, I don't sort of want to say that would be violent, but you wouldn't ever put up with it, would you? You wouldn't ever sit in a room and listen to somebody say, oh, do you know her? She's fat, she's disgusting, she's vile, her bum's too big. These are all words that people tell me they say about themselves all the time. And it's horrible. It's horrible. We're so unkind to ourselves. Sorry, I'm just going to have a drink. And I think it's so easily done. We have this inner monologue that's come from years of patriarchy. It's come from years of being subjected to certain media images. And that voice that tells you all those horrible things, that you're not good enough, that you're too big, you're too small. We have to learn to drown it out. And I think we need to learn to do that with the good things about ourselves. The things that you would talk about your friend when you would say, my friend's kind, she's loyal, she's hilarious, she can, down a pint in 10 seconds. All those great things that we would tell our friends about themselves, we need to start telling ourselves. And it's something you have to practice, because it's such a habit to be in, to say negative things about yourself. And what I say to my daughter is, when you hear that voice, because we all have it, because everyone thinks that only they have it, only they're saying these things about themselves, only they sit outside the office before they go in for a presentation thinking that everyone's going to laugh at them. I don't know why they've asked me to do it. Or when you're about to go to the pool and you look down and you've got a full 70s muff and you think, oh, can I do this? No one cares. And the people who do care are those bitches who are 12 in the PE rooms, who none of us want to be friends with them people anyway. So really, if you take one thing from my talk, and I know I talk a lot, I'm sorry, I need to bring it down, it would be to get in the habit, so think about it now. Think about, what are your good points? And it doesn't have to be physical. It usually isn't, let's face it. When we think about good things about the people we love, it's very, very rarely, oh, she's got a great arse, or oh, she's a size 6. We don't tend to think that about people we love. We think about that they're nice and they're kind, and because kindness is the root of all things. So you need to have those in mind already. I talk to I've got a teenage son as well, and I understand about peer pressure, and that he gets into situations that he feels uncomfortable with, and I tell him to have an out plan before he goes into it. So if somebody is going to offer you drugs and you're not really sure what to say, and you don't want to, no one wants to be the one who says, oh, just say no to drugs. Teenage boys aren't going to do that. Have an out, have an idea in your head already that thinks, if they say that, I'm going to have a lie. I'm going to say, just had a joint. Or, my mum's picking me up in 10 minutes and she's got a nose like a bloodhound. Next time, anything. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be the big man all the time and say, oh, drugs are bad, you should never do drugs. And it's the same thing when you've got that horrible voice in your head. You have to have a game plan. And the game plan is when you look in the mirror and think, oh my God, I look awful in this. Usually the mirrors in shops, because I think they make a special kind of hell mirror for changing rooms. Because does anybody ever look in the mirror and think, yes, I look great in this? It's terrible. I think maybe that's why Hollister in Meadowhall, the lights are so low. I can't go in there. I'm like an old lady. It's the lights are too dim and the music's too loud. I can't manage it. But you need to have those things in your head ready to go. So when you want to listen to that nasty little voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough and you're too fat and you're covered in scars, you wear a bag of shit on your stomach all the time. You have to have those positive things ready to go, ready to battle them down, because it's no good saying, don't think that about yourself. Those are easy words, but we all know that that's shit. And if it was that easy to go, oh no, actually I love myself now. But if you can battle them down, if you've got something ready to go, I'll tell you one for me. I wish I weren't filming now. When my kids were little, they walked in on me while I was brushing my teeth over the sink. And my daughter said to me, Mummy, when I grow up, will my boobies be as long as yours? Long is never, ever a word that you want to describe your breasts. Long. And everyone who's not had kids, just you wait and see. So these long boobies that were hanging down over the sink. And it was such an innocent, comment. It's not, I don't blame her at all. But I do sometimes look in there and think, they're looking ever so long today. I'm never going to be one to hoik them up. And, I don't. So I can't believe I just told a room full of people. That was not in the door. But I have to have those things ready to go. Yeah, okay, love, your tits are quite long. But you're awesome. You're brilliant. You're kind. You're a great mum. You're a great friend. And we don't like talking well about ourselves. We find it a bit embarrassing. It's not the done thing to do, is it? To say, I'm awesome. I'm brilliant. I'm any positive word. Yeah, it is the done thing to do, to stand in a changing room, looking in the hell mirror, saying, oh my God, I'm awful. This is disgusting. I look vile. I look terrible. And we just need to learn new behaviours. And it's not easy. I don't stand in front of you going, everything's fine with me. I never ever think badly about myself. I was shitting myself walking in here, standing in front of a room full of my peers and talking about poo and body image. But what I've learned is that I'm not going to let some marketing bloke rule my life, because fuck that. I've sworn an awful lot. I did not discuss swearing before we walked in. I'm sorry about that. And I just think if I can do that, then anyone can, because I know I stand in front of people and talk. I'm not a particularly confident person. I get very nervous. I still have all the same worries and distress that I used to have. But I tell you something, laying in a high dependency unit with tubes everywhere and sewn into arteries, they do that, they sew it in. I don't know whether any of you are medical people. And tubes up my nose, and I had nothing. I was at my absolute weakest. I came home and I couldn't do anything for myself. I came home and had to learn that I couldn't go to the toilet anymore. I've got a permanent ostomy bag, which means I don't have a bottom, which my kids love. They tell people in the supermarket, my mum ain't got a bum. Mind you, I wear t-shirts like this, so I can't blame them, can I? I've totally lost my train of thought with that. No, I have lost my train of thought. But yeah, there we go. Sorry, it came back. It was there somewhere. I think for me, it took being at my lowest to to just stop and look around at the things around me and think of all the horrible things that I used to say about myself, the horrible things I used to do to myself, all these stupid diets where I would restrict massive parts of the food group, all the times that I went out running. I hate running. I don't know why I did it. All the times that I did exercise classes that made me feel like shit. And there's nothing wrong with doing any of that. There's nothing wrong with a healthy diet. There's nothing wrong with exercise. But I don't enjoy it, so why was I doing it? And it took for me to have nothing, for me to almost clear all that out and recognise that I almost had a new beginning. And this new beginning could either be the start of something rubbish. It could be the start of me feeling really embarrassed because I have to poo out of my stomach. I carry this around with me all the time. It's really hard. There are days where I don't want to do it. There are days where I've not slept a full night for years because I have to get up and empty my bag. There are days where I feel depressed. There's days where I feel anxious. But I could have either let that take over, or I could let something else take over, and what I wanted was for something else to take over. And if I couldn't do it for me, then I knew I had to do it for my kids. And that's why the rules in our house are just be nice. I love RuPaul. I absolutely love RuPaul. RuPaul's Drag Race is probably my favourite show in the whole world, and I've taken my daughter to some drag shows, which I know is really super inappropriate because she's 14, but she loves it too. And so I always end all my talks on this because mainly just because it's RuPaul, so why not? And she ends every single show. Has everyone ever seen RuPaul's Drag Race? Right, this table here, your homework tonight is to go to Netflix or other TV things are available and find RuPaul's Drag Race. It's a show of drag queens who fight to become, not physically fight, who take part in all these things to become America's next drag superstar. And so at the end of each show, there's two drag queens and they stand in front of Queen Ru and she says to them, one's going to go, one's staying. And she says, so-and-so. Shantae, you stay. Sashay away. It's wonderful. Nothing to do with any of this. But she always ends with saying this quote. So she always says, and remember, if you don't love yourself, then hand the hair. Oh, I shouldn't do the accent. I did the head and everything. Hand the hair, you're going to let somebody else. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, that went all over the place there. That was a proper roller coaster. But yes, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to sit for questions because that's a bit weird otherwise.
I didn't really realise how tough it is for like teenage girls now. Like that was quite hard to hear